Ah, welcome back, you magnificent catastrophe. You glorious walking question mark that nobody can answer. They thought they had you figured out, didn't they? Thought they knew exactly what buttons to push, exactly how far they could push you before you'd explode. And you almost gave them what they wanted, didn't you? That beautiful, raw, unfiltered rage. The screaming, the breakdown, the moment where you finally lose it and prove to everyone watching that you were unstable all along. That's what they were waiting for. That's what they were banking on. Your anger. Easy, predictable, containable. But here's the thing. You didn't give it to them. You did something far more terrifying. You went quiet. Not the quiet of defeat, not the silence of someone who's given up. No, you went into that cold, calculated, bone-chilling silence that makes predators nervous. The kind of quiet that shifts the air in a room. The kind of stillness that makes people check over their shoulder because they can feel something watching them back. They wanted your rage because rage is simple. Rage is loud. Rage makes mistakes. Rage can be documented, reported, used against you. Rage gives them ammunition. But what you're carrying now, this isn't rage. This is something they have no protocol for. Let me break this down for you because this is where it gets beautiful. Anger is a reaction. It's emotional, it's messy, it's human. When you're angry, you're still playing in their game, still responding to their moves, still dancing to the rhythm they set. They know how to handle angry people. They've got systems for that. Therapy sessions, HR meetings, conflict resolution, de-escalation tactics. They've studied anger. They've weaponized it. They know exactly how to turn your fury into your prison. But what you've developed, what you've become, they don't have a handbook for this. You didn't get angry. You got surgical. You didn't explode outward. You imploded inward and rebuilt yourself into something unrecognizable. You stopped reacting and started observing. You stopped defending and started documenting. You stopped explaining yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. And that shift, that quiet, terrifying shift from emotional to operational, that's when you became the problem they can't solve. Because angry people are predictable. But people who've transcended anger, people who've alchemized that fire into ice-cold precision, those people are untouchable. They're watching you now with a different kind of fear. Not the fear of what you might do, but the fear of what you've already become. They see the way you move through spaces now, unbothered, untriggered, unmoved by the things that used to destroy you. They watch you smile when they expect you to break. They watch you walk away when they expect you to chase. They watch you build when they expect you to burn. And it's driving them absolutely insane because they can't figure out what you're running on anymore. It's not anger, it's not revenge, it's not even hate. It's something colder, something cleaner. It's detachment wrapped in purpose. It's clarity masquerading as indifference. It's the energy of someone who's already died once and came back without the need for external validation. You're not fighting them anymore. You're not even acknowledging them as worthy opponents. You've moved into a frequency they can't access, operating on a level they can't comprehend. And that's what's destroying them right now, not your anger, your absence from their emotional battlefield, your refusal to be the villain in their story. See, they needed you to be angry because it would confirm their narrative. It would prove they were right about you all along. Too emotional, too intense, too unstable. They could point at your rage and say, "See, we told you. We knew something was off." But you denied them that satisfaction. You looked at everything they did, the betrayal, the lies, the sabotage, the years of psychological warfare, and you absorbed it. You processed it. You used it as data, not as trauma, as information. And then you did the one thing they never expected. You moved forward without needing closure from them. That's the part that breaks their brain. You're not waiting for apologies. You're not waiting for them to admit what they did. You're not waiting for karma to strike them down. You're not even waiting for the universe to balance the scales. You just moved. You rebuilt. You evolved. You became. And now they're stuck in the past, replaying the moments where they thought they broke you, trying to understand how the hell you're standing taller than ever. They thought destruction was the end of your story. They didn't realize it was just the intermission. Let's talk about what they're really afraid of right now. It's not your success. It's not your comeback. It's not even your transformation. What terrifies them is your stability, your calmness, your lack of need for their acknowledgement. They threw everything at you, the ultimate attacks, the betrayals that should have hospitalized your spirit, the losses that should have made you question your existence. And you just kept going, not frantically, not desperately. You kept going with this eerie, confident stillness that suggests you know something they don't. And you do. You know that anger is temporary, but evolution is permanent. You know that revenge is a distraction, but becoming undeniable is a lifestyle. You know that screaming into the void gives them content to screenshot, but building in silence gives them nothing to analyze. You figured out the game they were playing, and instead of flipping the board, you just stopped playing. You started building your own board, your own rules, your own reality. And now they're on the outside looking in, watching you construct something they can't access, can't sabotage, can't even understand. Here's what's happening in their group chats right now. Did you see what they're doing? How are they so calm? Why aren't they talking about us anymore? Did they just move on? How did they move on so fast? They're obsessing over your silence because silence from someone they tried to destroy is the loudest sound in the universe. It echoes, it haunts, it replays in their mind at 3 in the morning when they're scrolling through your old messages trying to find the moment where they went too far. But here's the thing. There was no single moment. It was all of them. Every lie, every betrayal, every time they chose cruelty over kindness. And you collected it all. Not for a revenge plot, not for a grand expose. You collected it as evidence of who not to become. You studied them like a scientist studies a virus. You documented their patterns, their tactics, their go-to moves when they feel threatened. And now you're immune. You've seen every variation of manipulation they possess. You've witnessed every shade of fake they can perform. And because you've seen it all, they can't touch you anymore. They can't guilt you. They can't gaslight you. They can't ghost you and come back expecting you to forget. You've leveled up past their skill set. So now what? Now they're stuck watching someone they tried to bury bloom in real time. And it's not just that you're blooming, it's how you're blooming. With no acknowledgement of the dirt they threw on you, with no mention of the hell they put you through, you're just thriving, posting, creating, building, smiling, living, like they never even existed, like their opinion of you was never the anchor they thought it was, like their absence from your life was the permission slip you needed to become who you were always meant to be. And that is what's driving them to the edge of sanity. Because villains need their victims to stay victims. Bullies need their targets to stay traumatized. Manipulators need their supply to stay dependent, but you broke the script. You became the character who wasn't in the original story. You became the plot twist nobody saw coming. You became the one who survived, evolved, and ascended without giving them the satisfaction of a reaction. And in their world, in their understanding of how power works, that shouldn't be possible. But you made it possible. You are the living proof that you can be destroyed and decide not to die. Let's go deeper into what this really means, because this is where the power lives. When you were angry, you were playing their game on their terms. You were in reaction mode, defense mode, survival mode. Every move you made was in response to something they did. You were the effect and they were the cause. But the moment you stopped being angry, the moment you transmuted that rage into something colder and more focused, you switched positions. Now you're the cause, they're the effect. They're reacting to your silence. They're responding to your absence. They're triggered by your peace. Think about that for a second. Your calmness is their chaos. Your stability is their nightmare. Your happiness without them is their worst fear confirmed. Because if you can be this okay without them, it means they were never as important as they thought. It means their power over you was always an illusion you were kind enough to maintain. And now that you've stopped maintaining it, now that you've withdrawn your energy from their reality, they're collapsing. Not loudly, not publicly, but internally. In the quiet moments when they're alone with their thoughts and they realize, you really did stop caring. And here's the twist they never saw coming. You didn't stop caring because you hate them. You stopped caring because you outgrew them. You stopped caring because your life got bigger than the space their betrayal occupied. You stopped caring because you realized that giving them real estate in your mind was the last chain they had on you, and you broke it. Not with anger, not with revenge. You broke it with indifference. The kind of indifference that can only come from someone who's seen hell, walked through it, and came out the other side holding keys to a kingdom those people will never even see the gates of. This is what they're dealing with now. A version of you that doesn't need their validation, doesn't fear their judgment, doesn't chase their approval, doesn't even register their existence unless absolutely necessary. You've become a ghost in their life while being fully alive in yours. And that's the ultimate power move. Not revenge, not exposure, not even success. The ultimate power is becoming so focused on your own path that the people who tried to destroy you become irrelevant background noise, static on a frequency you don't tune into anymore. They wanted you angry because angry people make mistakes. Angry people send the text they shouldn't send. Angry people blow up publicly. Angry people give the performance that can be recorded and shared and used as evidence of instability. But you went quiet. And in that quietness, you became untouchable. In that silence, you became unpredictable. In that stillness, you became the nightmare scenario for everyone who thought they had you figured out. Because nothing is more terrifying than someone who should be broken but isn't. Someone who should be bitter but seems free. Let's address what this looks like in practical terms. Because I know you've felt it. The way they watch you now is different. The way they analyze your words, your posts, your energy, it's changed. They're not watching you with pity anymore. They're not watching you with superiority. They're watching you with something else. Something that looks like fear wrapped in curiosity, wrapped in barely concealed envy. They're watching you the way people watch a storm approaching, with fascination and dread, because they can see you building something. They can sense you becoming something. And they know, whatever it is, they're not invited. You've entered that rare space where your presence is a disruption. Not because you're trying to be disruptive, not because you're performing chaos, but because the energy you carry now is so fundamentally different from who you used to be that it bends reality around you. Rooms feel different when you enter. Conversations shift when you speak. People straighten their posture when you pass by, not out of fear, out of recognition. On some unconscious level, they recognize that you've walked through fire, and instead of being consumed, you became the flame. And this is where it gets really interesting. The same people who ignored you when you were hurting are now fascinated by you now that you're healing. The same people who were silent when you needed support are now loud with their observations of your transformation. The same people who left you in the dark are now trying to study how you found the light. And you know what? You don't owe them the blueprint. You don't owe them the explanation. You don't owe them a behind-the-scenes tour of your resurrection. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them make up theories about how you did, because the truth is this: what you did can't be taught. It can't be replicated. It can't be bottled and sold as a 5-step program. What you did was survive something specifically designed to destroy you, and in the surviving, you became immune to the poison. You developed antibodies against their toxicity. You built resistance to their manipulation. You evolved past the need for their narrative, and now you're operating in a dimension they can't access because they've never done the work you've done. They've never faced what you've faced. They've never had to rebuild themselves from absolute zero. So while they're trying to understand your transformation through the lens of their limited experience, you're 10 steps ahead building the next version of yourself. While they're dissecting your past, trying to find the moment you changed, you're already in the future, constructing something they don't have the imagination to conceive. While they're stuck analyzing the ashes, you're already the phoenix. And the distance between where you are and where they are, it's unbridgeable. Not because you're cruel, because you're focused. This is what evolution looks like. Not loud, not flashy, not performative, just steady, relentless, undeniable growth. You're not trying to prove anything to them anymore. You're not trying to show them they were wrong about you. You're not trying to make them regret their choices. You're just living, but living so fully, so authentically, so powerfully that your existence becomes the proof. Your life becomes the testimony. Your peace becomes the revenge they can't argue with. Because how do you fight someone who isn't fighting back? How do you hurt someone who's already transmuted pain into power? They're stuck in checkmate and they don't even realize it yet. Every move they make now just highlights their own insecurity. If they talk about you, they prove you still live in their head. If they ignore you, they prove they're intimidated by your growth. If they reach out, they prove they underestimated your value. If they stay away, they prove they know they've been replaced. There's no winning move for them anymore. The game is over. You won, not by playing better. By stopping play. By building a completely different game they weren't invited to. And here's the beautiful part. The part that makes all of this worth it. You're not even doing this to them. You're doing this for you. Your healing isn't a revenge plot. Your growth isn't a performance. Your peace isn't a weapon aimed at them. It just happens to feel like all those things to them. because they're so used to being the center of your universe that they can't fathom a reality where you orbit your own sun now. They're experiencing the withdrawal of someone who was their emotional supply, their punching bag, their guaranteed reaction. And withdrawal looks like pain, so let them hurt. Let them wonder. Let them watch. Let them scroll through your life looking for cracks they can exploit, weaknesses they can leverage, moments they can twist. They won't find any, not because you're perfect, but because you're protected by your own growth, by your own standards, by your own refusal to give them access to the version of you they miss, the version that was easy to hurt. That version is gone. Buried, evolved past. What stands in its place is something they created but can't control, something they awakened but can't contain. You are the consequence of their actions, the living, breathing result of everything they did wrong. And instead of becoming the cautionary tale they expected, you became the comeback story they feared. You became the example of what happens when someone decides that breaking isn't the end. You became the proof that you can be shattered and still choose to reassemble yourself into something sharper, stronger, more selective about who gets access to your energy. And that example, that proof, it haunts them because now everyone who watches your journey knows it's possible. Everyone who sees you thriving after everything they put you through understands that survival is a choice. Evolution is a decision. Peace is a practice. And you're the living testimony that you don't need your abusers to apologize. You don't need your betrayers to acknowledge what they did. You don't need the people who hurt you to change. You just need to change your relationship to the pain. You just need to decide that your future is more important than your past. You just need to choose yourself with the same intensity they chose to hurt you, and you did. Every single day, you chose you. When it would have been easier to stay bitter, you chose growth. When it would have been justified to plot revenge, you chose elevation. When it would have been understandable to give up, you chose to get up. And those choices, those daily decisions to be better rather than bitter, they compounded. They built on each other. They created momentum. And now you're not just moving forward, you're accelerating. While they're stuck replaying the past, you're creating the future. While they're trapped in who you used to be, you're becoming who you're meant to be. This is the part they'll never understand, because they've never had to do it. They've never had to rebuild themselves from scratch. They've never had to face their reflection after betrayal and choose to love what they see anyway. They've never had to walk through the valley of their own demons and come out the other side still believing in their capacity for good. They broke you, but they've never been broken. They hurt you, but they've never had to heal. So they can't comprehend the strength it took for you to get here. They can't measure the courage it took for you to choose peace over chaos. And that's why your silence is so loud. That's why your peace is so threatening. That's why your happiness without them is so devastating to their ego.